All right, what's up, everybody? See who's in here. Got JS in the house. How's it going, man? I've been looking forward to the party too. I can see my video finally this time. I couldn't see it last week. I think it was because I granted the permissions for the web browser to use the camera and microphone, and then I never restarted my Mac, so I think that's why. I just had a blank screen in front of me the whole time. So hopefully, just let me know if let me know that you can actually see it. It's going to be like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Probably for a few weeks until I'm comfortable knowing that it just works. Let's see here. Hey, what's going on? All right. Blue t-shirt's what I wear. I can't wear any other colors. Um, Prison colors are out. No, I will never. I can't wear enough. I don't even want to. Even if I was winning the Tour de France, I wouldn't want to wear a yellow jersey. Yellow, red, orange, khaki colors. At least the pants. Earth tones I can do, but blue and black are pretty much my colors now. Um, Everything, especially the bright colors like the yellow, orange, and red. It's going to feel like I'm back in prison, and I'm just not doing it. No black and white stripes, none of that. So all my shirts, like the synthetic ones that I wear on my bike rides, are blue and black. I don't have any other. I might have a gray one. I might, but everything's blue and black. So yeah, you guys decide what you want to talk about today. I mean, I could just go on some. You know me, I don't have a problem talking for a couple hours, but it's more fun when you guys kind of drive the bus. Um, let's see. I don't know. I've spent a few videos this week that you'll probably see next week talking about the old Jeffrey Epstein thing. So maybe we can talk about something else, but that's that's where I've been thinking about lately. You should set a notification of upcoming live streams. I do. I did set up. I did put this one in the mix as an upcoming stream on my YouTube channel, like within 10 minutes of ending the stream last week. So it did show up. If you clicked on the live tab, you'd see it. I don't know if there's anything else I can do other than just, saying, hey, I am trying to do a little bit of the plugs, give me the thumbs up and all that stuff. Ooh, so you're talking about what do you got in the house? If you heard that loud pop in the background, I had some fruit flies getting in and they were driving me crazy. Just last week, you might have seen me going like this during the stream. And so I was like, yeah, I got to do something about this. And so I got the taro fruit fly traps that just looks like a little piece of fruit, like a tiny little apple with a bunch of holes in it. And then you squirt some poison and lure attractant in there, and the fruit flies go right in there, and then they don't come out. So during the day, that works pretty good. And then I bought one of those tennis racket fly swatter things, and it has a base that you can stick it on, and it stays powered on. So it's like an indoor bug zapper. And so every now and then I'll be sitting here and I'll hear pow, gotcha, bitch. And I went over there today. I heard a number of pops last night. It doesn't really wake me up when I'm sleeping, ironically, but it is really loud. It's like the old school bug zapper that my grandfather used to have in the backyard that would wake up the whole neighborhood every time a mosquito flew into it. But it works great. It works really good. It has like a light on it, like a dark blue light, and they go right for it. As soon as the sun goes down, I haven't had any fruit flies. The power pack, Blue Sky, did you get that power pack system, the 2550? Yes. So I picked it up. And I think I had it last week during the live stream. I charged it overnight, and as soon as I unplugged it from the wall, it died. And so, but the thing was old. And so I figured I wasn't going to get a new battery if I didn't have to, but the batteries are like $25. So I ordered a battery on Amazon. It came in the mail early this week. It was delivered. And so when I opened up the unit to take the old battery out, there was all this white powder, and the sides of the old battery were all bulging out, and it was all deformed. And so the thing was old, and so that battery was done. It was hosed. And so I put the new battery in. It's real easy to swap the batteries. Nothing else was damaged, so everything was fine. Plugged it back into the wall. I let it charge for about 24 hours. And then ironically, it was like yesterday or Tuesday. It may have been Tuesday. The power went out briefly for like not even 5 minutes. I don't know why. I went outside to see if anybody was working on one of the other homes here in this little thing, whatever you want to call it. And nobody was out there. So it must have been, an actual power outage. But about a minute, 2 minutes later, the power came back on, but it reminded me, oh, you got this thing over there. Let's play with that. And so I unplugged it from the wall, and then I plugged my TV into it. And so I'm like, how long can I watch TV before it dies? So I watched some of the Tour de France, 56 minutes. It powered my TV for 56 minutes straight before the TV shut off. And so based on that, I'm assuming that plugged into my laptop and my hard drives, those are the only two things I'm going to plug into it, just so that in a power outage, my laptop will keep going and the hard drives won't disconnect from the laptop from having their power cut. And I should go about an hour. I feel like I would get an hour before I got to figure out what to do next. Disconnect the hard drives, so that they don't suddenly, make sure that there's no file transfers. It gives me an hour to figure out what to do if the power doesn't come right back on. And then if I unplug the hard drives and just use my laptop, when the power bank dies, the MacBook has a built-in battery that's going to give me like 2 more hours. So I could probably sit and work for up to 2-3 hours in a power outage before I got to figure something else out. And when it comes to, so I'm thinking now, I'm like, that was pretty cheap and it solves that problem. And now I've got extra extension cords I can use for other things. And so I just haven't done it yet. But I'm thinking if I can get another one of these power supply things, either a better one for the Mac and for the hard drives. But if I can plug this one in to my T-Mobile internet router. And so in the event of a power outage, suppose Grok was doing the estimate. And according to that, I should be able to plug the internet router into one of those. And if that's the only thing plugged into it, it should last like 5 hours plugged into one of those in a power outage. So I'd have good internet for a while. There's a million different things to do with it. So JS says it's good enough to back up data and shut down if needed. I mean, an hour. An hour is more than enough time to finish up whatever I'm up to in the middle of a power outage like that. Even the backup scripts that I run are solid enough that you can. I use rsync, which is command line based, and it's Linux backup. It's built into Linux, so it's so reliable that you can unplug things in the middle of copying a file, and the next time you run rsync, it'll just pick right up where it left off. It won't skip a beat. I've been using that for years, and there's nothing better. I've never used a better backup tool than that command line tool, because it's just smart enough to know you can interrupt it in the middle of copying a file and just cut the connection. And you can use it not just for backing up stuff to hard drives and keeping things synchronized. You can use it for your web server as well. So when all my clients' websites, I have them hosted on a server, but whenever I log in to do work, I'll use rsync to pull down whatever's up on the server and compare it to what's on my local hard drive. And then I'll make a backup of that using version control called Git. And so then I have my web server that holds all the website files. They're on my computer as well. And then they're also on a different server at a different company that's right now it's free, because you got GitHub, and you've got Atlassian has another one. That's the Bitbucket. That's the one I use. GitHub is fine though. But I like, for what I'm using it for, I like Bitbucket better. But so like I log into someone's WordPress website and I update plugins. Every time I update a plugin, I go to rsync, do a synchronization back down to my hard drive. And then the Git repository that's stored in, it will know that things were changed, and then I can create another, it's called a commit, where you add or change something. And so not only does my repository and my backup of that have the website and all its files, it has every version of everything since the first day I created it. So if I update a WordPress plugin and it breaks the site, I don't have to go through that much trouble to put the website back the way it was. Or if something gets screwed up, I back up the databases regularly. And so it's like I've got like 3 or 4 different ways of getting stuff back if it breaks. When it comes to like the video files and my photography and stuff, that's way more expensive. That's a little bit harder because the files are huge. And so I'm just kind of like, I have like a couple extra hard drives. Once they're filled, I have to buy one or a couple. And so I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, but it's getting closer and closer to when I finally have to just do it. And to get a 14 terabyte drive and then a mirror for that, to get 2 of those are like, it's like $200 a piece, and that's probably per gigabyte the best deal right now, or per terabyte. The best deal I can find is the 14 terabyte drives for about $200 each. So that's a huge expense for me right now. And in a pinch, I could just get a couple of 5 terabyte drives. Which is probably like $60-$70 a piece for those, and get by for a little bit longer. But somebody was even asking me on a comment, can't you just back up to the cloud? And you can, but it's really expensive. It's way more expensive than hard drives. And you've got 2 factors involved if you're dealing with big files. Like video files are huge. You have different companies that have cloud backup. Some charge you by the amount of space that you're using. There's one that I found called Backblaze, and they charge you like a monthly fee or an annual fee, but there's no limit as to how much you can store, which that's probably what I'm going to go to for my third, like having 2 hard drives and then a third option. But the other problem when you're dealing with big files, storing them remotely, is that when you have to retrieve them, like if my house burned to the ground and my hard drives were all gone at once, and I have to use that cloud backup to get all my stuff back, and you've got 10 terabytes of stuff stored, Do you know how long that's going to take? Like 2 to 3 months to download. That's if you said download all my stuff now and you wait for the bar to go across the screen, that's like 3 whole months of you waiting for all your files to download. And that's if your internet connection is never disrupted. And it's a huge amount of time to transfer that much stuff. So this company, Backblaze, if you have to recover if you're in a major catastrophe where you've got to recover everything, they can send you hard drives in the mail. And I think they send you 5 terabytes at a time, something like 2 terabytes. I don't remember, but they'll send you a hard drive FedEx with as much stuff as you can fit on it. And they won't charge you for it. You just have to send it back to them in a certain amount of time. And if you don't send it back to them, it's like, 20 days or something like that. They'll charge you for the hard drive. And it'll be about as much as a hard drive would just cost. So you can keep the hard drive and they'll just charge you for it. No big deal. But it kind of works like Netflix used to work with the DVDs. You send the hard drive back, and then they'll take the next batch of stuff and send you another hard drive with 5 terabytes or whatever it is. And then you can do whatever you need to do to get the stuff and send the hard drive back, and then they'll send you another one. So, or you can just pay them to back up all your stuff to their hard drives and just ship them to you. But downloading that much stuff would blow through. If you have a bandwidth cap on your internet connection, forget about that. That's gone. And just the time, you wouldn't even be able to download it all in a month. And so, but it is good. It is a good idea to have it backed up. But if I get a pair of 14 terabyte drives and I move all my stuff to those 2 drives, my photography and my video stuff, I believe it would probably take up half of that space from day one. And then I would just run that synchronization tool to make sure the 2 drives match each other so that I have 2 copies of everything. One hard drive I'll keep unplugged and tucked away somewhere. The other one will be always plugged into my Mac so that once a week or so I just plug the second drive in, synchronize them, put the other one away so that it's, like a lightning strike or something like that. The extra hard drive isn't plugged into anything. It's just sitting there. But to upload to synchronize 2 14 terabyte drives together, both plugged into the same computer with a high-speed USB port, that could take days. It could take a day or two just to synchronize those 2 drives. And if I get this cloud backup going and I say, okay, take these 7 terabytes and synchronize it to this cloud, that's going to be running in the background of my computer for like a month and a half, 2 months, for all of that stuff to go upload to another web server crawling along in the background. It probably won't get in the way of me doing any work. It's just something that just run in the background as a process in the background of everything. And if you reboot your machine, you might have to restart the process, but it should be smart enough to pick up where it left off. But it's the amount of data for video files is ridiculously huge. And it's probably the biggest types of files that you can work with on a computer. I'm really hard pressed to, at least it's the biggest files I'm ever going to deal with in my line of work. Let's see who else. We got more people in the thing. I can switch here to see participants. It's not showing me, but I can see your chats. I just can't see. If I click the participants button, it's showing me that I'm the only one in the room, but I can see all of your chats. Hopefully you're still there. Hopefully the thing's still going. Any Epstein list updates? I've been griping about that in a lot of videos that I recorded this week. Donald Trump shows up, and I can't be a fan of Donald Trump now. Not after that. Donald Trump was like, oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to, or those people that went to that island are going to be in trouble. And, he campaigned on all of that. And now he's like, what Epstein list? What are you talking about? Why are you all still talking about that? That happened such a long time ago. Why we keep beating that dead horse? Why don't you just move on? Yeah. What Epstein? There are no Epstein files. What do you mean? The ones that Pam Bondi had on her desk? There were no files on her desk. What are you talking about? Like, what the hell's going on there? So yeah, I've been saying some stuff about that. Let's see, Ken, any tiny house updates that you know of? I don't know where the video came into play, like in terms of what video went live when. But last Friday, I was doing my laundry with my third world Amazon bathtub washing machine, and I got all the laundry washed, and I was just getting started on. I had about 2/3 of the wash dry with this. It's got a wash thing on one side and a spin cycle thing on the other, and you have to manually kind of do that to get the spin cycle to dry all your clothes. But it does a really good job spin cycle drying the clothes. They come out almost dry. Like, it spins so fast. But all of a sudden the spin cycle side just stopped. It didn't work anymore. And this thing was 5 weeks old. I'd used it once a week for 5 weeks, and nothing I did would fix it. And so I had this pile of soaking wet clothes in my bathtub. And so I still had to hang them up and get them to dry. But ironically, I just bought a fan that day. And so I had a fan, a fan on a stand, just a basic fan. And now the clothes that were already kind of dry, they dry in like 15 minutes, dry enough to put them in the bin. There's like a bin of clean clothes behind me. But the other clothes that were soaking wet it was Friday morning when I did this, and they took until the end. I came home from Saturday working at the bakery, and they had finally dried. So it took like a day and a half to dry these clothes. But in the meantime, I was a little pissed off, but I just went to Amazon. It was 7 days past the return window. So I went to Amazon. I told them what happened. They reached out to the Chinese, manufacturer, and, somebody named Michelle, who spoke nothing but Chinese English, kept emailing me back and forth. Try this, try that. And I just kept saying, I'm like, I did everything. It's broke. And so that happened on Friday. I had already been with Amazon at like 3 p.m. to try to get a refund. And so Friday night and Saturday morning, the washing machine company was emailing me back and forth, and they finally said, okay, we'll give you a refund. Because like they were trying to, they were stalling a little bit, but Amazon said, if they don't give you a refund, we will. So either way, I was going to get the money back. I just didn't know when. And so that was Friday. Saturday, they told me they were giving me a refund. They told me it would take 4 to 5 days. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just get another washing machine before the refund even comes. And so I did some homework. I did some research, picked out another one from a different company, but they're all pretty much the same. And Sunday afternoon, the refund was in my bank account. It was that fast. And so I was like, well, okay, I bought it. And the one that I bought to replace it was just a little bit smaller. They almost look like they're the same size, but the new one's just like 4 inches less wide. And so the new one fits in my bathroom exactly the way that I wanted the first one to fit, but it was too big. And so that alone was really nice because my bathroom is way more spacious now that I don't have this washing machine sticking out into the middle of the room. It's tucked away up against the wall. and it fits right in it. It's like the exact size. So the positive side was Amazon hooked me up right away. They told me that I wasn't even supposed to get it delivered until sometime next week, and it was here Tuesday morning. So Friday morning, the washing machine broke. Tuesday morning, the new one was here, and money was refunded and everything. It was that fast, and so I didn't even skip a beat. I did whatever laundry that I had in order to just try out the new machine. And there's pros and cons. The new one's smaller, and it's noticeably smaller. The washing machine side doesn't hold as much stuff. So that was a little bit of a, I don't even care that much. I might not be able to wash my blankets in this one, where the old one, I think I could have washed blankets. I just wouldn't have been able to spin dry them. But I got rid of the old one. I just took it to the dumpster because I didn't, even though the washing machine side worked, I got nowhere to keep this stuff. So I'm like, I just didn't even want the clutter in my house. So I was just like, see ya, took it to the dumpster. Yeah, that's what I did, Blue Sky. Took it to the, I was going to like maybe put it on Facebook or whatever. I was really like, I just don't want this cluttering up my house. So I just tossed it. They told me I didn't have to send it back because the shipping would have been like $100 to send the thing back. So the new one of the other positive things is it was like $30 cheaper than the other one that I had. And it was also on sale. And so I ended up buying a 3-year extended warranty with it. So for the same, it was $10 more. When I got the refund, I kicked in an extra $10 so that the new one had 3-year extended warranty with it, so that if anything goes wrong, I'm covered. Because I figure, like, if I'm going to get a mulligan and I didn't have to fight for it, and I had to go back and forth with the email a little bit and messaging, and it did cost me some time on Friday because I had to deal with the hassle of it. But at the end of the day, the thing is a little bit smaller. It doesn't have a built-in pump like the old one did, so the hose for the drain has to drain below the washing machine or it won't drain, where the old one had a pump and it would go up and over if you wanted to hook it up like a regular washing machine somehow. But I don't recommend using these things on your floor because it's very easy to overflow the thing with water. If you start filling with water and you put the hose, I use a hose from the shower in it to fill it up, and you walk away for a few minutes and you forget and you come back, the thing's overflowing. Like, that's your bathroom floor covered in water if you don't, or your whatever floor covered in water if you walk away from that and forget, oh crap, it's not going to turn off automatically. But it does a good job washing the clothes. And on Tuesday, when I did all the laundry and I did the spin cycle, clothes that I zigzagged paracord in front of my fan so that I could hang all the stuff up in layers in front of the fan. So everything was getting blown on by the fan. And before I even finished washing the clothes that I pulled out of the spin cycle were already dry, like bone dry from the fan blowing on it. And so it was much faster, beginning to end, getting like even the jeans, even 2 pair of jeans that I washed, they were dry in like an hour after hanging them up in front of the fan. So I'm not even going to buy a dryer. That was on my list of things that I wanted to do. And I just crossed it off because using a regular fan, it's faster. I can put all the clothes in front of the fan and have them dry faster than it would be shuffling back and forth. And this place gets really hot when the sun's out. The air conditioner can't really keep up with it, and I haven't got curtains yet. So if I'm running a dryer, that's going to vent out into the room with a little lint trap to keep stuff from flying out into the room at the end of the tube. That's just going to make the place super hot, and it's going to be it's going to suck. So using a fan to dry the clothes with my paracord clothesline, it was dry like that. It was super fast to dry. I don't need a dryer. The spin cycle on those portable washing machines, the clothes come out a lot drier than than a regular washing machine. Way drier. Like some of the stuff you could just, like these synthetic shirts, you could just put it on right out of the washing machine and you wouldn't even feel like it would just feel a little bit damp. So let's see, what else do we got? Any other tiny house updates? I was talking about the bug zapper, the tennis racket bug zapper. That thing kicks ass. That thing, nothing that touches that thing, it's out, lights out. What do I wear to the bakery? So most of my laundry issues I put on when I ride my bike in the morning. I have a synthetic shirt, pair of bicycle shorts, but they're like bicycle undershorts, like underwear bicycle shorts. And then I wear regular shorts over that because I don't like bicycle clothes. And and then I wear, socks and that kind of stuff, and whatever else if it's cold outside. And I'll take an extra synthetic shirt with me because my shirt's not going to dry while I'm at the bakery. And so I just take an extra shirt for that. And then at the bakery, I wear black jeans. You have to wear black pants, and our uniforms are just a black t-shirt. And they're nice. It's not uncomfortable. It's a regular cotton t-shirt. I've got like 6 or 7 of them. But it's not, and we wear hats. We wear it's a black baseball hat kind of hat. And if you've got short hair, you don't even have to wear a hairnet. So the girls with the long hair, they wear hairnets, but guys, like the owner one day, she goes, "Oh, you don't got to wear a hairnet. Your hair's so short, you just got to wear a hat." I'm like, cool with me. I didn't really care. It didn't bother me or you wouldn't even notice it. But she was like, "I don't care if you wear a hairnet, if you've got short hair and you wear a hat." So, so that's cool. But it's pretty chill. Somebody said that they're going to make everybody wear pink shirts. And so I was like, well, all the Starbucks workers went on strike because they had to wear a Starbucks t-shirt to work. I'm going to go on strike if you try to make me wear a pink shirt. And then I got into this big thing about how we've got the Tour de France going on right now, but in the Giro d'Italia, which is the Tour of Italy. So the Tour of France is the Super Bowl of bicycling. The Giro d'Italia is the number 2 bike race in the world. It's the Tour of Italy. It's basically the same thing. It's just Italy. Well, the leader of the Tour of Italy has to wear a pink jersey. It's not yellow, it's pink. And so that's what I keep saying. I'm like, well, if I was racing in the Tour of Italy and I get to the finish line and it looks like I'm going to win, I'm just going to look over and be like, after you. You can go get that. Go get that thing. I don't want to wear a pink jersey for the rest of the race. I don't want to have to, so yeah, I'll be glad to get second place in the Tour of Italy. There's still a lot of money to make there. Let somebody else wear the pink jersey. The world champion for cycling has to wear a rainbow jersey. And back in the day, that wasn't a big deal. But now, with all the LGBTQ, GIF, all that stuff, now you're walking around in a yellow or in a rainbow jersey, everybody's going to think you're gay. And so I don't know if I want to be the world champion in cycling because you have to wear that yellow, or you got to wear that rainbow jersey in every race for the next year. You got to show up in your rainbow jersey every time you go to a bike race, unless you're the winner. Like Tadej Pogacar, I never pronounce these names, but he's the world champion right now. So in the Tour de France, he's got to show up with the rainbow jersey every day, unless he's in one of the Tour de France jerseys, like the yellow jersey, the green jersey, or the polka dot jersey. And the polka dot jersey is goofy looking too. It's a white jersey with big red polka dots all over it. I'd be cool with the yellow jersey or the green jersey. I mean, the polka dots, whatever. I mean, you get a lot of money for that. Just wearing one of those jerseys for a day, you win big money. It's a 20. It started on July 5th. It ends on the 27th. They get 2 days off. But every single day of the Tour de France is cash and prizes on the table. You win one stage race, you get a huge bonus. You get money, you get trophies, prizes, cash, all the stuff that comes with it. You win one of the side jerseys, like the green jersey or the polka dot jersey. You're like world famous just for that. Blue sky, they can't take away rainbow just because they like it to the TGIF peeps. Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna. The rainbow jersey's been in effect for years, so this isn't like a new thing. The reason why the reason why it's a yellow jersey in the Tour de France, and that's the most famous. In 1903, when they made the Tour de France, it was a newspaper that was floundering, and they had competition, and they were losing subscribers. And so they organized this big bike race as a way to promote the newspaper, because the newspaper was going to cover the race, and they were going to make a big spectacle out of it. And the newspaper was printed on yellow paper. So that's why the leader's jersey became the yellow jersey, because of the color of the newspaper. But they made it was big right off the bat. The first time they tried to do it, not a lot of people signed up, so they canceled it. But then a few months later, like I think it was November of 2020 or of November of 1902, that they tried to start organizing this thing, and almost nobody signed up because they're like, oh, that's crazy. Car really wasn't even people weren't even driving automobiles yet. And so they're like a 2,000-mile bike race. And Jared likes the Flower Girls tradition. Nice touch. I've noticed that they've gotten a little more politically correct with the Flower Girls, because if you're standing on the podium, the Flower Girls used to give you a smooch. And, so there's a little bonus for winning the race. Now the girl just hands you the flowers, and there's probably no touchy going on the stage. And that's in France. I mean, guys kiss each other on the cheek in France when they're like, instead of a handshake, they're like, oh, mwah, mwah, and, but yeah, I don't know. Have you ever read It's Not About the Bike by Armstrong? No. I don't really know. Yeah, that's what I said, Jared. Now, I have seen a couple of the Flower Girls kiss the riders on the stage after, but not like maybe 1 out of 10. So I don't know. And it's like the same. They have the same Flower Girl for the same jersey at the end of every stage, because I watched the whole thing. That's why I'm like, right now I'm watching stage 8, but I think today was stage 12. So I'm like, by the time the race is over, it's going to take me a week to figure out who won. It's going to be like you guys watching my videos on YouTube, where they show up a week after I record them. So it's kind of like the same thing. If I can go a week without knowing who won the Tour de France after the last day, that would be kind of amazing. that would be kind of like the same as, like, say you weren't going to be able to watch the Super Bowl, so you recorded it on TiVo, and you're trying to get through your day on Monday without knowing who won the Super Bowl. Good luck. You're not going to, you're going to go into work, and 5 minutes later, you're going to know who won. Yeah, did you watch? How about them Chiefs last night? Oh, they got their ass kicked. Oh, thanks. It's over. Now, do I even have now? Now it's not even worth going to watch the replay. Blue Sky asks, how many stages are there? There are 21 stages, because it's the 5th. It's July 5th through the 27th. So, and on the first, so it's 21 stages. They get 2 days off. So the whole event is 23 days long. But after stage 10, they got a day off. And then there's another day off coming up. And even on their day off, they still have to ride their bike. They probably have to ride at 50 to 100 miles on their day off, just at a relaxing pace, because it's like any workout. If you're riding 100 and anywhere from 100 to 130 miles a day, going 30 to 35 miles an hour average speed, and then you take a day off and you don't ride a bike at all, and then you try to get on a bike the next day, you're not even going to be able to stand, let alone get on a bike. You won't even be able to walk. So they have to keep their legs moving. They have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So even their day off really isn't a day off. I'd say you have good odds of not getting spoiled. Google may spoil you before a person does. I don't even know what that means. But I don't know. You're talking about the Tour de France? I don't know. But no one will ever win all 21 stages. It never has been like that. They should offer a huge prize for the first one who does it. See, the thing is, so you got 4 different kinds of bike races going on. You've got a flat stage where the roads are generally flat. They go up and down a little bit. Maybe there's a couple of small hills, but the terrain is flat. And so the riders kind of ride as a big group, because it's really, really hard for a lone rider to go off the front and not get caught by the big group behind them. It happened on stage 6, but there were hill climbs on stage 6 as well. The other type of ride is hilly stages. And then they have the mountain stages, which they might be going up a mountain for 2 hours at a time. And then the last kind of a race is a time trial, where every rider starts 2 minutes apart from each other, and they're racing against the clock. They're all on an individual by themselves. And so you add all of that up. All the different cyclists in the race have different specialties. So some of them are the endurance guys that can handle the endurance of doing this 2,700 mile race day after day after day and always finish near the front. And those are the ones that win the yellow jersey. The green jersey are the ones that can, on a flat road, they can outrun anybody. They can get up to like 50 miles an hour on a flat road on their bike sprinting. But it's kind of like track and field. You've got like Usain Bolt, who wins the 100-yard dash, but if he had to run a mile, he'd come in last place. So that's how the sprinters are in the Tour de France. So on these flat ones, they win. And that's what that green jersey is for. So those guys get a prize, and they have a reason to come. But the sprinters, as soon as you get into the mountains or anything hilly, they finish like half an hour behind the first place across the line. And okay, the spoiler, yeah. Jared says, yes, since you're watching on a delay, the winner spoiler, yeah. Google will spoil me. That's what I mean. I'm going to log into YouTube, and in my feed it's going to be so and so won the Tour de France, or that's how it's just going to be a headline that jumps up in front of me, and I'm going to be like, well, oh well, I'm not going to get that mad about it. So the time trial guys, that's more like aerodynamics, wind tunnel testing, position on the bike, the ability to go balls to the wall for, an hour or two or however long the thing is. That's like a different specialty. And then there's people that can climb the mountains, but they're bad at time trials. So that's why they got this polka dot jersey, the green jersey, the yellow jersey, and then they've got a white jersey for the young rider. You have to be younger than 26 to win the white jersey. And basically, if you win the white jersey, you can win all 4 jerseys at the end of the Tour de France if you're that good. It's happened. Eddie Merckx, he won at least 3 of them, if not all 4 of them. He's one of the best cyclists of all time. This Tadej Pogačar, guy, after stage 5, he was in the green jersey, the polka dot jersey, and the yellow jersey all at the same time. And then after stage 7, he lost all 3 jerseys the next day, but he was still like 2 seconds away from being in first place overall. And then on stage 7 or whatever, stage 7, I don't remember the exact order, but he's back in the green jersey and the yellow jersey, but his teammate is in the polka dot jersey. And so when he put on all 3 jerseys at the end of a stage, because he won all of them just for the day, he was the 5th person in the history of the Tour de France to do that. So, and that was just to wear them all on the same day. That's a whole different thing than going all the way to Paris and actually winning all 3 at the end of the race. That probably wouldn't happen again. So, looks like we got the troll patrol. We got the trolls showing up. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, we could get rid of that one. We can get rid of that one. That's easy to do. All right. So that's what we can do to them. Let's see. So the Polish dude, the guy, Tadej Pogačar, is from Slovenia. Speaking of prison, talking about me being in prison, the trolls. There was a guy that I was in prison with that I became friends with. He is from Slovenia as well. He was an Olympic figure skater. He was in, I forget which Olympics. I can look it right up while we talk. If I can remember his name. I can't. If I can remember his name, I can look it up. Okay. Yeah. He was in the Olympics in the 1992 Olympics, wherever the hell that was, in Albertville, which I guess was in France. He came in like 27th place, and he came in 27th place in the Olympics, but he ended up going to federal prison here in America because apparently, I don't know what the truth is and what isn't. He took out the COVID loans, whatever the COVID loans are called, for he was doing like an ice thing called Ice Town, and I forget what the name. He basically was trying to open up like a skating rink for the season in New York City or something, and he had already done this in Europe a couple of times. He's got some money, and so he took out the PPP loans or whatever, and he came to the charge is that he made up some stuff and made up some documents and stuff like that. He basically, like, the government charged him with wire fraud. And so he came to America to try and work something out with his bank, and the FBI was there waiting for him. And he ended up doing 2 years in federal prison, but he's home now as far as I know. I haven't talked to him since I left. But let's see. People are asking, probably one of the trolls, do you ever see your kids? I saw my son on my way to come to Houston. I talked to them on the phone. But no, I haven't seen them. I'm 1,500 miles away from my kids, and I'm not allowed to just travel and go across the country whenever I want. If I had a car, if I can get a car, then I can probably go on a road trip and go see them. So, but it's got to be fun to. It's got to be fun because I think it's always the same person. The troll that I keep having to boot, it's like somebody just feels like they can like they have enough time on their hands to create fake Google accounts just so they can come and troll, leave one shitty comment on the channel and then get booted. And then, I got to make another YouTube account so that I can come back and troll this guy again. Like, do you really got that much time in your life that you got time to sit around and make 150 YouTube accounts just so you can go troll a guy who got 1,000 followers? Like, but keep doing it, whatever. I'm the mod. I'm on it. Like, whatever. It's like, it's a click of the mouse. It's not a big deal. I didn't care at first when I was homeless and people would troll and I still don't care. It's just, it's kind of annoying, right? And so the trolls, they love the attention. So why give it to them? That's kind of what I looked at it. And one of the things was I was getting email notifications whenever someone would leave part of the reason why I get behind on the comments now is because I used to get an email. When someone would leave a comment, it would just be like, it would be in a Google filter in my Gmail box. And it would just be there, and I would see, new comment, and I could just click on the emails and go through them. And ever since June 15th, stopped getting emails from Google when they leave YouTube comments. And I'm not alone. It seems like this is across the board to some extent. And so people aren't getting notified anymore through email when you comment. Now, I'll see them when I come to YouTube. There'll be the bell, and I'll see them in the notifications. And then what was the other thing? So the notifications, they show up in the bell. And then if you log into YouTube Studio, there's a whole section for people's comments there. And what I did do, I did go into YouTube Studio and I turned off the automatic moderation because a lot of comments would just show up in there being censored by Google, but Google would give me the option to be like, you can, do you really want this to show up on your channel or not? And I would just be like, I don't care, go ahead. And so I turned off the automatic, timeout thing that Google does, and comments still end up there because Google's like, I guess YouTube's like, are you really, really, really sure you want this one to be up there? We just, we set this one aside. And so every now and then, every couple of weeks, I got to go and look in there. I didn't even know that was a thing for at least a couple of months when I started doing YouTube. And I went in there one day and I'm like, whoa, look at this. And there was this whole thing full of people trolling that I never saw, but I saw it all at once one day. But so when I decided to block this guy, I think it was just, I got an email notification that there was a comment and I clicked on it and I'm like, another one of these. And so I was like, you know what? Bonk. I just love to tell with it because then I'm not going to get the emails anymore. when somebody's if that's all you're going to do. I don't care if people leave comments that I disagree with or anything like that. Oh, I see 11 people, it says for me. No, I didn't even notice that. Make sure to give the thumbs up. There you go. There's the thumbs up plug. Because the algorithm, they like the algorithm and it helps and all that, and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I had to go read this troll comment, and I'm like, you know what? I could be a smart ass and respond to every one of them like I was doing, but then you're just feeding the trolls. And then I'm like, you know what? I think the douchiest thing I could do to this person is block him, because now he's going to have to go make a new YouTube account. He's going to have to make a new Google account just to show up and leave another stupid comment. And then I'm going to go block. And then he's going to have to go make another Google account, another YouTube account. He's going to have to go through all that process just to do it again. Block. And I could just, it's a dick move. And I think it's the better dick move, because it's more hassle for him to go make a new account every time he wants to show up and run his mouth. But he always says the same thing over and over again. You threatened FBI officers. Your kids hate you. You're a piece of shit. You work at a bakery. You're a loser. Whatever else. It's always the same comment over and over again. So I can't tell if it's like somebody I know or just some dumb troll, or maybe it's some guy who works at the FBI. Look at Elon Musk and all the crap he uncovered, all these government workers who just sit and watch cat videos on YouTube all day and don't do any work and get paid $100,000 or more a year. Maybe this guy works for the FBI and he's mad about what I did. And so he's like, well, I don't do anything all day, so I'll just make up a new Google account every 10 minutes and leave him a troll comment. So I don't know who it is. I don't care. But I just think it's funny. Blue Sky says, I am still just in unbelief that you can get prison for a social media post. It feels like living in China or the Soviet Union. And I'm like, I don't disagree. I thought, when I posted the shit I posted, number one, I didn't think anybody was paying any attention. I got an automatic warning from Gab. But it was an automatically generated warning. And so I was like, so that kind of like prompted me to say some dumber shit, because I thought, well, can I get kicked off Gab? How far can I push this before Gab says, okay, we're kicking you off the platform? Because Gab goes around saying we don't kick anybody off the platform. It's free speech and all that. And so part of the dumb shit I said was kind of, see, how far can I push what I say before Gab finally says, okay, you're done. That was part of it. Part of it was just being mad that I got fired from a remote job. I worked remotely from day one. It was 2019 when I was hired. I worked remotely. It was a remote job. And then they came at me in the fall of 2021 and they said, you have until a week before Christmas to get your Dr. Fauci shot. And if you don't, you're fired. And so I said, go ahead and fire me, assholes. I'm not doing it. Like, you and your Jim Jones Kool-Aid vaccine cult can go to hell. I put them all on blast. I told them off in a Zoom meeting. I didn't take it well. And I couldn't get unemployment because the state of Pennsylvania said, well, you refused, that's insubordination. We don't have to give you unemployment. And so I racked up like $10,000 in credit card debt just trying to survive, paying my bills. And I had a little bit of money in the bank, but not much. And so I started putting all my bills on credit cards and then making the minimum payment on the credit card month after month. And I maxed this card out, switch to the next one. And I did that for like 4 months. I sold a car, got some more money, like $4,000. So I was like, oh, I can last another month. And then I ended up finding a job, a good paying job, and a remote job, fully remote job in Rochester, New York. So I didn't have to go. I went to Rochester for a week once, but it's where I grew up, and it was a fun trip, and I didn't mind going up there. Um, but I had paid off like 4 grand of the 10 grand in debt that I racked up in 4 months after starting that new job. I was just throwing money down to, I didn't want, I had all these credit cards, but I never wanted to use them. I would pay them off every month. I didn't want to pay interest. So I always paid them off. I used them to pay my bills every month. And then I would just make one credit card payment to pay my bills instead of having to like log into all these websites and make sure you pay this bill and make sure you pay that bill and all that. I got to the point where I could just put them all on 1 or 2 cards and then just pay the cards every month. And it was easier. And then it was helping me build my credit. And it was all just kind of rolling in the right direction. And then in that emergency, when I lost my job for not taking a shot, that allowed me to survive for the 4 months that I didn't have a job, 4 or 5 months, something like that. But it was a week before Christmas that they fired me for not taking the shot. And by then I'd had enough of this crap. We'd been dealing with this since 2020. I had a relationship go down the toilet when the scam started because I wouldn't go along with it. In fact, I realized after like a month into that 2020 nonsense that every relationship I'd ever been in my life up to that point, if I were still in that relationship, it would have ended because of that, because all these women would have gone along with it. And we would have broken up because I wouldn't wear my mask and I wouldn't take my shots and I wouldn't stay home when I was told to stay home and all that crap. So we had been dealing with this nonsense. 2020, they ruined all my plans. I had all kinds of stuff lined up I wanted to do. Things were going great that year. And then all of a sudden, Dr. Fauci and the gang had to pull that scam because they didn't like Donald Trump and they wanted to rig the election. So it ruined all of our lives. It wasn't just me. Everybody I know went through some crap. And so by the time when they raided Donald Trump's house, leading up to the arrest, I had gone to Rochester, New York for a week for business. So I was living out of a hotel for a week. I was in Jamestown, New York for a few more days after Rochester, and then I was back in Pittsburgh the very next, like within 3 days. No, my bad. The Rochester trip. Yeah. Then I was back. Then I went like 5 days, not even 4 or 5 days later, I'm in my camper truck and we're going on a cross country drive. We went all the way down to Virginia, all the way down to Asheville, North Carolina, Tennessee, hung out in Tennessee for a bit. Then we worked our way back. We ended up camping at a place in Kentucky where, we had even on the last day of the trip, we had lunch in Cincinnati and ended up back home. But we were gone for like 10 days living out of a pickup truck. It was it wasn't like a camper, but it was like, one of those shells on the back of the truck. And I had 2 6-foot-long drawers with a foam mattress on top of it. And so it was like a compact, pretty much anywhere I could take my Jeep, I could take this truck. It was kind of like, it was a compact Nissan Frontier. But we lived out of that truck for 10 days. That was right after coming back from a week in Rochester, New York. I was home for just long enough to pack the truck and go on this other trip for 10 days. We came back from that trip. Like couple of days later, I'm taking my son to the Allegheny National Forest to go on a 25-mile hike, backpacking for 2 days. My son was 12 years old. He's carrying a 30-pound backpack on his back, and we're hiking through like wilderness. Like this was even more rugged and wildernessy than I was expecting it to be because I know this area really well. But this stretch that we hiked, we never saw another human being for the whole, from Friday at 5. We left home at 4, started hiking at 5 p.m. on Friday, camped Friday night, in a thunderstorm with hammocks and tarps. He was a little bit freaked out, but he was with me. So he slept really well that night because we hiked pretty far. And the next day it kind of was really hot, and then it rained, then it was hot. But we hiked like 25 miles through the forest and got picked up at the other end of the hike to go back to the Jeep. And we didn't see another human being the whole Friday through Sunday afternoon. So Sunday afternoon, we just got done with that hike. We get back in the Jeep, we go back home, and we're all hanging out at my house for a couple of days. That was Sunday afternoon. So Monday I had to go back to work remotely, but I had a job. So Monday all day I worked. We went out to dinner Monday night. Tuesday, my ex, she went back to her job, and because she owned a business. And so it was just me and my son for the rest of the week. And then it was Monday night we watched Donald Trump's house getting raided on TV. And so we were both riled up, like pissed off, like what the fuck is going on? Like everybody's sick of this shit. And so now I basically just got back from a month of traveling nonstop, not traveling like relaxing, but traveling for business, going on a 10-day rugged road trip, living in a pickup truck, going on hikes up mountains and all kinds of crazy stuff, and going swimming and all kinds of other things, and just wearing ourselves out to come right home to working for a week and going on that rugged 3-day hike with my son. And then Donald Trump's house is getting robbed, or, getting searched. And so now I'm home for a few days, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I get on Gab, and everybody's shooting the shit on this stuff. And I just start saying some dumb shit, angry, venting, that kind of stuff. And I went way above and beyond the Call of Duty there. Tim, I'll get you on that. We got some time. So I can talk about that now. It's crazy. In fact, I might have to look something up while we're talking about it. But basically, I was worn out, exhausted. I wasn't thinking clearly. I said a bunch of dumbass things. Friday that week, I'm sitting there. I took my son out to dinner at our favorite restaurant because I couldn't cook. I was too tired. Came home. I'm sitting in a chair, and I fell asleep. And it was like 7 o'clock at night. So I went downstairs to the basement bedroom, and I went to sleep. I was like, I'm going to get off of Gab. I'm going to delete that account. This fucking dumb shit. I don't need to get into that. This was dumb. I just need to delete that account and forget about that site. That's what I was thinking Friday night when I went to bed. And I had queued up an Amazon order for my son's birthday. I'm like, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go, organize all my finances, because I've just been traveling for a month, and I'm a month behind on all of that stuff. So I don't know how much money I got here and there. So I got to figure all that out, order that thing for my son, and then I'm going to go delete that fucking Gab account and just fucking forget about it. I'm too angry about the politics right now, obviously, and whatever. So I go to bed Friday night, and it's like midnight, and I'm hearing, at first I hear boom. And I'm like, what the hell? I woke up, and I'm like, what is he doing up there? I thought my son dropped something on the floor or something like that, because that's what it sounded like. And I'm like, I started to go back to sleep, and then all of a sudden I hear boom, 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 and I hear glass breaking and all hell breaking loose. And I'm like, what in the fuck? I jump out of bed, I grab a gun, I go running upstairs, and when I get to where I can see outside, the whole place is surrounded by the tank, FBI, lights. There's like 20 dudes with guns pointed at me. And so I just dropped the fucking gun and come out. But I'm like, I'm bare. The prosecutor basically said that I came upstairs ready to fight the FBI, like ready to go toe to toe with the feds. because I was barefoot, didn't have any shoes or socks on. I had a pair of jeans on. My belt wasn't even buckled. No shirt, just like bare chested with a pair of jeans and no socks and shoes coming up to throw down with the fucking FBI. You'd think I would have at least put on a shirt, you know, if I was going to fight these guys. But like the bedroom that I was in, so the FBI agent in court said that when he went into my bedroom, he could look out the window and see all the flashing lights outside, and that there was no excuse that I should have known that that was the FBI from the time I jumped out of bed, because he looked out the window, saw all the flashing lights, saw all, you know, I'm a liar, and there's no excuse for, you know, me not knowing before I came upstairs. And so my lawyer was like, "Oh, you stand by that? Is that the statement? Are you on record? Is that what you want to say?" And he says, "Yes, I stand by that." And she goes, "Okay, play this video." They take a video camera from 2:00 in the afternoon with bright sunny day with no clouds in the sky. They walk into my house. They go down the stairs to where my bedroom is. It's pitch black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. 2:00 in the afternoon on a bright sunny day, you can't see anything in the bedroom until you turn on a light. And this window that the FBI agent said that he looked out, because there is a window in the bedroom, it's a glass block window that's buried underground because there's an addition to the house built on top of it. So there's like 3 feet of dirt covering the window, and then on top of that, a concrete slab and a whole addition to the house built on top of that. And so that's the window that the FBI agent said that he could see out of and see all the flashing lights and stuff, and that there was no reason for me to not know who was destroying my house in the middle of the night. And so then the judge turned, so everybody in the courtroom was like, oh, like all the people, all the spectators, they were like, "Holy shit, she just nailed this guy." And then the judge turns around and calls me a liar. He says, "Well, I don't even think you're not the least bit credible here." And I'm like, "You just got a fucking FBI agent committing perjury, literally lying on the stand saying, I looked out this fucking window, saw all the flashing lights, and we've got proof that this window is covered in fucking dirt and has a whole addition to a house built on top of it. There's no light coming in the room at 2 in the afternoon on a bright sunny day." And then the prosecutor's like, "Well, they doctored the video footage," and they're trying to like say that my lawyer doctored all the doctored all the footage and whatever. And he says that the judge had it in for me. The judge was appointed by Donald Trump. It wasn't a Democrat judge. He was appointed by Donald Trump to be a federal judge, and he happened to be the federal judge that when Tom Wolf, the governor of Pennsylvania, was telling everybody they had to shut their businesses down and they're not allowed to go outside and you're not allowed to go to your friend's house anymore and all that bullshit. This federal judge was the one that said that's unconstitutional, and he shut down the governor. But according to him, I'm a liar, even though the FBI agent committed perjury in court. But, you know, the FBI is allowed to lie. You're not. So anyway, that's some of the story there. Now, Tim, since we got time, and I totally forgot about this. This is fucking crazy. And there's a reason why I couldn't talk about this. So Tim is asking, when will the full story with the slumlord regarding the tool shed be told? I'm interested in that for a while. So there was this one part. Most of what happened there and everything has been told. But there is this one thing that happened that I didn't say anything about, because it was crazy and because I didn't know if it was true or not. I still don't. So, it was the tool shed was in this guy's backyard. And so when I would come and go, I could either go through the house, out the back door, go to the tool shed, or I could go through a gate around the house and go to the back of it. But it was tucked away back there. And then inside the house, this guy had 1, 2, I think he had 3, maybe 4 bedrooms in this house that he rents out to people. and then he has his own bedroom. And it was just like this weird vibe there. But everybody was friendly, like the other people that lived there. I didn't have any, like the two people that were there when I moved in, never really had a problem with, but I think, one of them was definitely an alcoholic. I mean, it was like going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting out on the back patio and someone showed up with a keg. I mean, that's what it smelled like. Like you be this one old guy, he would talk, you really couldn't understand what he was saying. It was all like kind of like, you like riding like riding that bike, huh? I used to have a bike when I was young, and that's how he talked. You couldn't understand, and you could smell from like the other side of the backyard the booze on his breath. So the other guy was a little bit cooler than that. He had like, I could tell from his tattoos and some other things that he's probably been locked up before. Never taught, I never asked, don't care. He was a nice guy, never had any problems with them. Then there was another guy who moved in who decided to throw some of his clothes in with my laundry one day. That was kind of weird because I got my laundry back and I'm like, the bag is, I couldn't fit it all in the bag. And I'm like, I know this fit when I brought it out here. And then there's a knock on my door. Hey, you got some of my clothes. And I'm like, that's fucking strange. Who does that? But it wasn't like a laundromat where you pay. And, it was just a washing machine and a dryer in the garage. So one day, one of the people that lived there had a black, Volkswagen Jetta. And so one day I'm out in the garage doing my laundry and the Jetta is parked in the garage and the whole front end of the car is smashed to hell. Like he crashed into a telephone pole or something. I don't know. The whole front end of this car is fucked. And it's in the garage and the garage door is shut. And usually the tenants' cars are parked in the driveway. And so the first thought that goes into my head is, that's what I would do if I got in a hit and run last night and I needed to hide my car from the cops for a while. And that was the first thought. But that was just, that's how I am. I'm cynical. That's the first thing that's going to go through my head. And so I started my laundry. I walked away. I went back to the tiny house. And curiosity, it wasn't even right away. Curiosity got to the better of me. And I'm like, wonder if there's any hit and runs on the news in Houston. So I typed in Houston hit and run. And the first three stories that popped up were last night, the night before this, before I saw this, there was a hit and run in Houston where a pedestrian got killed on walking across a street somewhere. And I could tell you the name of the street and everything, but it doesn't matter. And the police are now looking for a black 4-door sedan. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No. And so I'm like, no, it can't be. And so I'm like looking up. I'm like, okay, where did this happen? Now, where it happened was like 45 minutes away from where I live. And I'm like, well, that's unlikely. But then a little bit more homework said that where it happened, that's where all the prostitutes hang out in Houston. And I'm like, well, an alcoholic living in a rented bedroom, it's not really out of the question that he might be over where the prostitutes are before he comes home from I don't know. And I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, nah, I can't just jump to conclusions that my neighbor, or the guy who lives here was the one who killed somebody last night and now he's hiding his car in the garage. I can't, that's a pretty big accusation to make on somebody when maybe they just got drunk and, smacked and rear-ended somebody. Maybe they got drunk and, hit a fucking guardrail or something. I think there was alcohol involved, but maybe not. Who am I to? But I'm like, boy, I can't shake that one. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't know. What do I do? So I start talking to my friends about it, And they're like, holy shit, Adam, because they knew everything else that was going on. They're like, you never stop. I go into the bakery. The first thing out of their mouth is, so what's going on this week, Adam? Because they were getting the updates as all this stuff was going on. And they were just like, every time you come in here, it gets crazier. And I'm like, well, guess what? I got another one for you. And I told them about the hit and run and how this car is locked up in the garage with the front end all smashed up. And they're like, you got to report that, dude. What are you doing? You got to tell somebody. And I'm like, I don't know yet. I don't know. That's kind of a, do I really want to have the cops crawling all over this place? Because, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. And so they're like, no, man, you got to report that. You got to report that. And so I'm like, I'm doing a little more research. I'm like, what does the front end of a car look like when you hit a person? And so I'm like, I'm looking at pictures of accidents. I'm like, because the damage seemed pretty bad. But then I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, you can totally destroy the front end of a car hitting somebody. And then somebody I worked with at the bakery, her son ran into a wild hog out on the road. And I'm like, well, a wild hog is kind of the same weight as a person. It's not the same height, but can you show me like what kind of damage was done to the car from the wild hog getting hit at night? And she's showing, I'm like, damn. This car had to go to the body shop for hitting the wild hog. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, they got that Crime Stoppers where you can be anonymous and you can report crimes and stuff like that. And so I'm reading the Crime Stoppers website and they're like, everything is completely anonymous. We'll send you a code so that you can log back into the website and, and you can check on the progress. And and then it says, if your tip leads to an arrest, you can get up to $10,000. And I'm like, get out of here, $10,000. I'm like, well, shit. I'm like, well, there's this black four-door sedan. It's a Volkswagen Jetta parked in my garage at this and this address. And in fact, I know that the night I came home, the night before this happened, that car was parked in the driveway and didn't have any damage at all. Here's the license plate number, by the way. And the very next day after that hit and run where somebody died, that car has been hidden in the garage with the garage door shut and the front end all smashed up. And I'm like, here's where it is. Here's the garage. I'm like, hey, there's a tiny house in the backyard. If you need someone to let you in, come knock on the door. I'll be, I'm just like, 10 grand, hell yeah. So I reported it. I put it on the Crime Stoppers website. And then I went into the bakery the next day and they're like, did you report this, Adam? You need to report it. And I'm like, well, after I find out I could get like 5 to 10 grand, I was like, I couldn't wait to report this. So I did. But the last time I checked, nothing came of it. But I don't know if it's ever been solved. I don't know what came of it. I know that two things. I checked the Crime Stoppers website a couple of times and it had never been updated with new information. But supposedly, if it does lead to an arrest, what they do to keep you anonymous is that they send you a message and they give you a code. And then they tell you, go to this bank with this code and the bank will give you a cashier's check for the money, and it's all anonymous, and they can never figure out who actually tipped them off. I'm telling you right now, it was me. But if it does lead to an arrest, well, sorry, dude, shouldn't have done that. But I could use that money. Yeah, 10 grand, and I'm turning in my brother. But yeah, I mean, I was just like, honestly, I don't think it was that guy. But the coincidence was crazy weird because I know I came home from my bike ride the day before and that car was in the driveway like it always is. And then the next day in the afternoon, I'm doing my laundry and that car's in the garage with the whole front end smashed up. And so, but I don't talk to the people that live there very much, not even, especially the slumlord, especially the last month I was there. I pretty much didn't talk to anybody. I just didn't talk I would just walk by. Hey, what's up? That's it. I would go right into the tool shed, shut the door and not come out. And I just didn't want to. And so the guy did take the car out of the garage after a couple of weeks, and he had it out in the driveway, and it looked like he was trying to fix it himself. Like it looked like he was getting in there with tools and stuff and trying to bend the front end back together and, like, you know, ghetto fix it with pliers and, you know, a crowbar or whatever. It looked like he was trying to just get it fixed enough himself that he could drive it again. But it was in the garage for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, and after the hit and run, after I saw it on the news, I was like, holy crap. So when I went back out to put my clothes from the washing machine into the dryer, I'm walking around and I'm looking at the car and I'm looking to see if there's blood. I'm looking for like hair stuck. I'm like looking around. I'm like trying to see, like, I didn't come out with a black light or nothing crazy. And that landlord had cameras all over the place. And so I didn't know if I was being watched when I'm in the garage. And I looked he told me he saw me on the camera in the backyard once, how I used to do how I would do the video where you walk into I'd show the front of the tiny house and then I'd walk into the house holding the camera. I did that for about a week or two. And then he sends me a text message one day. He's like, why, how come you're always out in the backyard taking pictures of the house? And I'm like, then he sends me another text. He's like, yeah, I've been watching you on my security camera. Why are you doing that? And I'm like, dude, real, like, he got weird about it. And then we had a conversation and then he was all right. He, you know, stopped being weird about it. But after he told me he was watching me on the camera, I'm good at finding shit like this. The next 3 months, I'm looking for that damn camera, and I never saw it. I couldn't figure out where the fuck is this camera. So it must have been a real tiny camera somewhere, looking out at the backyard, looking at the tiny house. It could have been mounted in a tree somewhere. I don't know. But I sat there. I did every trick in the book trying to figure out where this fucking camera was. I'm sitting there inside the tiny house and using all the camera detection tools that, you know, that you can use with your phone and software and different things, trying to see if there's like a hidden camera in the tiny house. Is there a microphone hidden in here? Like, I got real paranoid about that shit for a while. Like when he started coming in the tiny house and he would take my camera off the wall. I'll show you. I got it right here. So I had this Obama phone and I had it up above the front door. And so there's software on this phone that it's just like, it's a security camera software. It's for Android, and it will, if somebody walks in front of the camera detects motion, it'll send me an alert on my phone, the phone I'm carrying. And so this guy would go into the place and you'd get a video of him reaching up and grabbing the phone and taking it down and putting it face down. And I'm like, the fuck you doing? But he didn't know I had another camera. It's a USB charger. That's all it looks like. It's a USB charger plugged into the wall. It's even got a USB port. And I would always have cables plugged into it. But you can see right there's a tiny little camera. And so I had that thing plugged in, and he never knew that that was a camera. You wouldn't even notice it if you were just walking in and out. So anything that he did when he unplugged the camera that he could see, I'm filming him anyway. So I don't know what he did. He never like went snooping around. If I caught him like doing something, I would have nailed him with it. But I put this camera out in the open because I knew that he was coming in and out of there to like work on the hot water that he never fixed for 3 months and all that other crap. And so I put the camera in the open because I wanted people who come in there to know, hey, guess what? You're on camera. So if they don't know they're being filmed, then they might go and do something. And if they steal something or they go through my crap or whatever, now I've got to deal with that. And I've got to go after them to get my stuff back or to do what. And I'm like, If I just put this out in the open where they see it, that's going to be a deterrent. And so they're going to be a lot less likely to do something. And then I'm not going to have to deal with the aftermath of them doing something. I do the same thing here. I take this, I put it on a camera tripod, and I just set it in the middle of the kitchen when I go to work in the morning. If somebody comes in the front door here, which they never have, if somebody were to even just walk up to the front door at this place that I live now, I'd be getting a message about it instantly on my phone. And I'd be getting a, hey, someone's, the motion was detected. If my MacBook turns on in the day and the screen turns on because it wakes up from sleep for one reason or another, I'll get a message. It'll say, camera detected motion, and I'll look, and it's just the computer screen turning on and off. But yeah, that guy was nuts. And but that was the story that I kept wanting to tell, but I just didn't want to tell it until I moved. And so, I mean, I don't even know what my Crime Stoppers code is, or I don't even know. I'm tempted to look this up now while I'm talking to you guys, if I can figure. Oh, I do know how to find it. Where would it be? Where would it be? It's in here somewhere. Yeah, but I mean, if you guys got, whatever you want to talk about is fine. But I'm curious now that you got me thinking about that. What if the Crime Stoppers thing did turn into something? But I don't know. That's something I might have to look up when I'm not in a live stream, because it's not popping up right in front of me here. Oh, man. Boy, I don't know where it is. It's in my notes application, but it could be really hard to find while I'm sitting here talking. But I am all of a sudden interested to see, because I haven't looked at that in weeks. I may have checked one more time after I moved in here, like within the first week, and then I just put it in the back of my mind. Yeah, I mean, yeah, JS says, I always wondered if they pay the award. They could always claim your call didn't contribute to solving the crime. And sure, I wouldn't be surprised. I have heard that people have gotten paid for Crime Stopper tips. In fact, I think there's a record of the payments being made that's like public, because it's the police are public. And so, but who's to say that they didn't pay Boss Hogg the Crime Stoppers money and gave the code to Boss Hogg, and he went to the bank and took it out and then passed it out to all the cop buddies that sent him the code, and maybe they just kept it for themselves. It's anonymous. We don't know who it went to, right? So who knows? It wouldn't surprise me at all. So I will put it in my calendar to check later, Blue Sky. I mean, I can sit here and kind of poke around, but a lot of that stuff, I have all these notes in case I was going to end up going to court with this guy. But after I moved, I just kind of tossed it into a bucket so that I don't have to deal with it anymore, or even look at it or think about it anymore. And here we go. I just found it. So I can do this while we talk. It's that simple. Review update tip. And here it is. That. I'll die if something happened. I'll be crying. I'll be laughing so hard. But I mean, not that somebody died, but no, nothing happened. Everything is exactly the same as I left it before. Thank you for submitting your tip with Crime Stoppers. We will review the information, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. But they were looking for a black 4-door sedan, and that's exactly what was in the garage with the front end all smashed up. I don't know if there was an eyewitness or if there was a video or what, but I thought that was just too. And the thing wasn't, if the thing had been in the garage the day before the accident, but I know for sure it was in the driveway, no damage. It was always in the driveway. There were certain cars in that driveway when I would come and go. The landlord had one. There was a pickup truck. There was another. It was like a Kia something or other, and this black Jetta. And all of a sudden, the very next day, that black Jetta is in the garage with the front end all smashed up. And like I said, I didn't even like suspect anything other than I made a joke to myself about, he was probably in a hit and run and he's hiding from the cops. And then I find out that there was a hit and run last night. They're looking for a black 4-door sedan and somebody was killed. I'm like, oh shit. That's a little too much of a coincidence there. But it was a distance to drive. It's a 45-minute drive from where I lived to go from there each way. But then you take into account that street is where that's like the red light district of Houston where all the prostitutes are. And now I'm like, wait a minute. He did have a reason to be in the neighborhood. So maybe he ran over a hooker or something. I don't know, man. I don't even know. I don't know. But that whole thing was strange as hell. And I wanted to talk about it, but I kind of was like, I think I'm going to wait and share this one on my YouTube channel after I've moved and I'm away from that place. So now you got the story. You'll have to see the live stream replay on that. Anybody else who wants to know, but you guys got it first. Let's see. But yeah, everything's cool now. I mean, problems and stress. I don't even like, I'm feeling certain things, but it's more like time. Feeling like, I feel like I don't have enough time to do the things I want to do and the things I have to do. And so that's like, I talked about like, it's like a video game, and each level you got to fight a new boss to get to the next level. And sometimes you cruise along on a level and then you get to the boss at the end of the level and it gets really hard. So I'll talk about I'll answer your question because there's a funny story there too. So level 1, I get out of prison. I'm in my ex-girlfriend's apartment and just being treated like total garbage every day. And it was bad, really bad. It was so bad that I'm telling my friends, I think I'm going to end up homeless. And all my friends are like, no, she's not that much of a bitch. And all of a sudden I'm homeless. I'm like, I told you. I told you shit was not right here. That was level 1. And that was the boss at the end of level 1, or that was the boss I had to beat. And being homeless turned out to be an upgrade from having a home. Going from having a home to homeless was an upgrade. That's how bad shit was. So now I'm at level 2, living in a homeless shelter, trying to figure things out. And the boss, the thing I had to figure out was where you're going to find a place to live. How are you going to get money? How are you going to get a thing to live? And you all know the story of the guy that, the guy I met in the park. He's still a client of mine. Another guy that I met because of the YouTube channel is also a client of mine. I've got like 3 other people that want me to do work, and I'm trying to I feel like I don't want to take on more work and then be even more pressed for time. So, between, there's just a lot that's where I'm stressing right now. So level 2 was just finding a place to live. And then that became my friend's house in Houston, which sucks because I didn't want to be this far from my kids. But I had three bad options, and I took the best of the three bad options and figured I'd just figure it out from there. And so, being at my friend's house, that was a good experience. Him and his wife were really generous, and they were really helpful to me. But if you're at somebody's house for 3 months, it could be your best friend or whatever. And his wife really didn't know me that well. I've known my friend since we were like 15 years old, but I don't know her that well. And so, it was time to move on. And I wanted to get a car and then move, but when you have a house guest for a few months, it's like if it kind of turned into, if you've got enough money to go get a car, why don't you go get your place first? That way, that's kind of how it went. And so it wasn't like an angry thing. It was just time to go. It was time to do it. So the leveling up was moving into that tool shed. And I have been looking for a place to rent for the whole time I was living at my friend's house. But Facebook Marketplace is really weird, and it's hard to figure out how to use it right. And so I wasn't finding anything good to look at. Craigslist was beat. Facebook Marketplace was beat. I lived in the richest neighborhood, one of the richest neighborhoods in Houston. So there was nothing affordable anywhere near that bakery. There's nothing affordable. The closest thing I could find was 10 miles away, and it was a total dump. Like, so bad the electric wasn't turned on and the water wasn't turned on. When I looked at the place, it was big, but it was a complete dump. And I was worried that when they turned the power on, the place would catch on fire, but the fire would get put out when they turned on the water because of all the leaky pipes, and it would just kind of cancel each other out. But this place was horrid. And that was the best I could find right until a week before I moved into the tool shed. I found that place. And so that was level 4. And now I'm on level 5. The boss of level 4 was the slumlord, and having to get out of there before he was going to try and stiff me with paying more rent in the middle of the lease, and all the other crap that he was doing. So I got out of there on time, and now I'm at level 5. And right now it just feels like level 5 is like JS says, get in a car. Now there's a guy who watches the channel, and he put up a car. He's like, I can send you this car, but you got to pay for the shipping. And I had the money for the shipping. But the move, this all happened right at the same time I was like a week away from moving. And so I'm like, the first month of living here got expensive. And then I had to make this big rent payment where it was rent plus half a month's rent because the guy split the security deposit across 2 months. And so I got down to less than $100 in the bank, but there was more money coming in. So I had to go like 3 days with less than $100 in the bank account. And I actually had to cancel a subscription to some software I use, but I don't really want to use it anymore because it's too expensive for what it is. And I had to cancel that subscription because I didn't want the money coming out of the bank because I had less than $100 and it was going to be like $40. And I'm like, no, I'm canceling this now before they charge me. And it was just invoice. It was something I used to make my invoices, but I can do it myself. And so, but then like 3 days later, I got my paycheck from the bakery and I got paid by a client. And so it all evened out. And so now I'm just trying to kind of like ride out this month and see what happens. And if I can bill enough money this month to my clients and get the money from the bakery and all that, I can pay the bills for this month, next month's rent, and probably have enough left over to work with that guy on that car. But I kind of had to like shuffle around a little bit. And, it doesn't, and even if I don't get that car, I could go put a down payment on a reasonably priced car. Or one of the things I keep seeing around here are Jeep Cherokees, the mid 90s to 2000 Cherokees that they're no rust because it's down south. And so I keep seeing those for like $4,000 to $5,000. And I just know from experience those are super reliable because I owned one. And I'm telling you, it was like that episode of Top Gear where they tried to destroy the Toyota Hilux pickup truck and they couldn't destroy it even when they put it on top of a building that was being demolished, and they drowned it underwater and they crashed it into things and they did all kinds of stuff, and the truck never died. So they just put it on a platform in the studio and made it into a monument. That was what my Cherokee was like when I owned it. You could not destroy it. It was stolen. It was in a high-speed police chase, crashed into a curb at 50 miles an hour, caught on fire, and then they had to wait for the fire department to come put out the fire. And when I went to the impound to get my Jeep back, they wanted to charge me $150 to tow the Jeep from where they parked it to the front of the impound. And I'm like, to hell with that. I went back and stuck a screwdriver in it, started right up, and I drove the thing out after all of that. But it wasn't safe to drive on the road. But I was able to get it out of the impound parking lot without having to pay them $150 to tow it out. Because it started right up, engine like nothing, like it didn't care. It didn't care that it was in a high-speed police chase, crashed into a wall, set on fire, burned for 20 minutes until the fire department came and put it out. It started right up. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty insane. And so I would totally own another one of those. I don't think you can destroy those. They're all over the place down here. They're easy to find. No, they really don't. And those mid-90s Hondas, like that guy has that he said he'd send me, they're the same way. Those mid-90s Hondas last forever. The mid-90 Toyota Camry, the Toyotas from that age. I had a Toyota Tercel from the mid-80s. It was the same thing. You couldn't kill it. You could not make that car not start. What's up, Adam? If you find a better deal with a vehicle, just let me know. Jeeps are cool as well. I haven't found a better deal. That's for sure. You look at that budget for the shipping of the car, and you look around here, you can't even find a car that runs for that much. So I'm totally cool with that, but I just gotta let things settle in from the move. And if you end up having to get rid of it or whatever, it is what it is. But we'll talk. I've just been busy. You're asking me, Blue Sky says, is the freelance growing? Yes and no. I'm busy all the time. I'm constantly I've got more work than I can do. And so it's a little bit of a juggling act right now. The bakery and having to go on a 50-mile bike ride every time I go work there hurts. So Saturday, I usually feel pretty good on Saturday, but I come home exhausted because I rode my bike 50 miles and I worked at a physically exhausting job. And I don't hate working there. It's a cool place. I mean, it's a good group of people to work with, and we all get along really well. And I could have done so much worse. When I moved to Houston, the probation officer was like, you have to get a job like right now, or we're going to have problems. And I got a job like right now. And it was that job, and it was that fast, and then we're all good. And I make enough money doing that it pays for groceries. It pays for some of the things I have to do on Amazon. It's every 2 weeks I get that money, so it's easy. It's all good. But I would rather sit at home and do my freelance all day because I make way more money. But it's unpredictable. So I kind of have to figure something out there. And so you asked me if the freelance is growing. I have so much I have 3 projects I could add to my list. And it's not that I don't want to, it's that I want to get further along with some of this other stuff. And I've got this one client. He just keeps giving me more stuff and more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And every time I get even close to being caught up, he gives me like 10 more things. And so that's good. He's paying me for that. But it's all, I just don't like the biggest challenge right now is time. Like, how do I manage all this time and how do I keep my energy so I can get stuff done? And the bakery is like, somebody asked me, it may have been you, can you take a week off from the bakery? And it's like, well, if I did, I work Saturdays and Mondays. And then, like, if they ask me to come in like every now and then, they'll ask me to work an extra day. But Saturday and Monday are my 2 days. And because nobody likes to work Saturday, and I don't care. So it works out because they always need people for Saturday. And then Monday, it just works. Monday is the day that we get our orders from the warehouse. So I come in to do all of that and do all the heavy lifting, the big strong man and, with a bunch of high school girls, you're going to be the one doing all the bag lifting and all that stuff. So it works out, but it's exhausting. And so Tuesdays I come home, Tuesdays I'm like, sometimes I get home and like, I feel great. I feel like the Tasmanian devil. I just got off my bike and I'm like, yeah. And then an hour later, I can't even stand up because all my muscles have seized up and they're just like, everything's got like the rigor mortis post-workout stuff. And I'll stand up and I'm like, I can't even stand on my feet. And then the next day I feel run down. And then I get 3 days of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where I have pretty good energy, but then it's back to that grind again. So I'm trying to break out of that cycle, and I keep poking and prodding at different things, trying to see if I can figure something else out that works. And so that's what I'm doing right now. That's kind of where I'm like, I feel like that's level 5. Level 6 is like figuring out how to balance out your time and energy better and get yourself into a car so that you got my radius of transportation. It's kind of nice because when I was in Jamestown, I walked 590 miles last year. Walked. It adds up. And but my radius in Jamestown, about the farthest I could go was about 6 miles. Yeah, blue sky. Yeah, I did ask, or maybe you could do Friday, Saturday, and Monday, and then take a weekend off, and then work another Friday, Saturday, Monday, same amount of hours long. The stretch of days off, I would really only get like, so if I stop work on Monday, and then if Saturday was my last day and then I take a week off, I'm still going to have to go in the following Monday. So I'm going to get like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm back Monday. So I could get like a 8-day stretch off, and that would be all right. But yeah, level 7 is early release and probation for sure. Level 6 to me feels like figuring out how to get my energy back and time back, because time's the one thing you can't get more of. You can put more money in the bank. You can all the other resources you can get more of, but you can't really get more time. But my radius of travel in Jamestown was like 6 miles. That's about the farthest I could go and come back in the same day. And sometimes I would be completely worn out from that, going on a 12-mile walk just to go 6 miles, do something, turn around and go 6 miles back. But I could do it. And I had 2 bicycles in Pittsburgh, but they weren't rideable. They needed parts. I needed shoes, like to be a serious biker. And actually be able to do this. I'm not riding 50 miles a day with flat pedals and sneakers. That would kill me. So cycling shoes are a huge, huge difference. Like that's like, I don't even know. Like that's like going out in the middle of winter without a coat. I don't know. It's like it's fundamental. So when I came to Houston, I had a bicycle with me, and when I got a job, my friend and I we went to the bike shop, and I had some money in the bank. I dropped like $350 just to be able to ride my bike to and from work. And that was shoes, a helmet, tools, spare inner tubes, just all the, like, I had a list of like, this is the bare minimum. The shoes were the most expensive part, cleats for the shoes. But that shows up, that made my travel radius now like 40 miles from where I am, because I've done it already. I went 40 miles to go look at a place to live, turned around and came back in the same day. And I didn't leave until like noon. And I got back before dark. It was like 7 o'clock, something like that. And I stopped at Chipotle to eat that day. And I got lost on a sand road going through the national forest that turned into, that was a mess. So it would have been even faster if I hadn't gone, if I hadn't made that bad turn. But that was an 80-mile ride, and riding a bicycle 80 miles to me hurts less than walking 12 miles. So the 12-mile walk in Jamestown hurt more than an 80-mile bicycle ride. In terms of me, that's just how it affects my body. And I'm not saying that an 80-mile bicycle ride is easy to do, but when my travel radius extended to 40 miles from 6, that was a huge improvement in my life right there, because I'm able to do things and get places and go do stuff. I don't necessarily like it. I don't necessarily like, there are days I don't want to go on a 50-mile ride to go work at a bakery all day, that's for sure, but I can do it. And so it's like, I didn't want to go on those 6-mile walks each way in Jamestown just to go on a job interview for a job I wasn't going to get, or go buy I had to go on a 12-mile walk just to get a pair of boots, and my boots disintegrated at the halfway point. When I got the new boots, when I took the old ones off, the treads like fell off the boot. And so with that, 16 people, that's awesome. I'll keep doing this. Thursday's the right day for this because I have the right energy. I've got a lot of rest from my bicycle adventures and my bakery adventures, and I don't have to jump back into it tomorrow. So it's like the perfect day to do this, at least for now. And if that changes, I'll let you guys know. But we only got a couple minutes left, but I just want to thank all of you for showing up. It's been fun. Before you go, are you the Amazon list? It's just time. Like, add it to my list of things to do. But I'll take a look at that. It's like I got to sit down and like, how does this all work and all that kind of stuff, and what do you want to do and all that kind of, no, I haven't added anything to it. I know there's like a time limit that they let you leave it up, and then you have to take, and then I don't know how it all works. I also didn't want to do it until I want to get an Amazon affiliate account, where, I can put the links under the video again. And then if you click on it and you go to Amazon, you look at the thing, but you buy something else, they'll still pay you a commission for somebody having clicked on the link. And it lasts for like 24 hours, 12 hours, something like that. I actually made 58 cents the last time I did it, but I only got one qualifying sale out of the 3 that I was supposed to get. So they cut my affiliate account. And so I have to create a new one. But the funny thing is, like 4 months later, they put the 59 cents in my bank account. They're like, oh, we owe you that. I'm like, wow, I wasn't even expecting that. Because they make you have like a threshold of $100 before they pay you. But I guess when they cut you off like that, they'll just pay you whatever's in your account. I want to see him not ride his bike. If I have a car, I'll still ride my bike to the bakery and back. I'll still do it. But I'll do it because I want to, not because I have to. And there's a difference. Like if I wake up and there's a thunderstorm, I'm going to be like, driving. You know what I mean? On another note with that, I could drive to a cool place to go for a bike ride and do it for fun. But I like riding my bike a lot. But the other thing with the bakery, if I had a car, I would take different shifts. And I mean, this would be dangerous, but if I do closing shifts at the bakery, I can bring cookies home. Like, I'm telling you, I could fill that freezer behind me with cookies. Like 1 or 2 closing shifts, we can take home the cookies that don't sell. And that's dangerous because I can bring home like 50,000 calories worth of cookies, especially if I drive. Oh my goodness. I could fill that freezer with cookies to the point where I'll gain 300 pounds in a month. So it may be, but I would work different shifts and I would balance that out differently. And until I find a job closer or a different job or whatever happens. So, but I would still ride my bike. I would still probably ride at least 50 miles a week on the bicycle and then drive and mix it up. I have 2 bicycles now. I have one in Pittsburgh I could go get. If I get a car, I could go pick it up, go see my kids, bring the bicycle back with me. Now I got 3. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And, but yeah, I mean, the only reason this all didn't fall into place is because all of this happened like a week, 2 weeks before I moved. And every time I move, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but when you move, you have all these unexpected things hit and you think it's going to cost this much and it costs more. And you're like, oh, I don't even have this. Kitchen wise, there's like basic stuff. I'm like, I want to cook dinner. And I'm like, crap, I don't have this thing or that or whatever. And, having to do laundry. Most of the money that I spent when I moved in here was I bought a bike rack to hang my bicycles out of the way. That worked out really great. Washing machine so I could do my laundry. Shelving, because there's no closet space in here at all. So I got enough shelving, wire shelving, like the metal wire shelving units, and just lined a room in with them so that I'd have a place to put stuff. And that worked. All that stuff worked out great. But, between the month-and-a-half rent payment with the security deposit 2 months in a row, and just everything just kind of blew up. But it's all working out, and I'm not really worried about it either because everything just, God seems to be just handling it. And the more I worry about it, the less, it doesn't like, the less I worry about everything, the more it works out. So I'm trying to learn not to be worried about stuff. But with that, it's like 2 hours and 3 minutes. It's been a lot of fun. If I can figure out how to set this thing up like a Zoom meeting and get people to like video chat, and that would be cool one of these days. I know there's other tools that allow you to stream to multiple platforms at once and allow other people to join with a video camera. And, we can have a lot of fun with this. I'm not going to run ads during the live stream, but when I switch it over to the replay, I'll turn them on. So I don't know how that works. I'm totally less stressed now, according to Jared. I'm telling you, when I got in the moving van, the morning of the move, I was stressed out. StreamYard, that's the one. There's others. StreamYard's the one everybody uses. When I was stressed out about the move, the landlord was gone. He went to his business, so I had time by myself. I started at 9:30 in the morning packing the moving van. My best friend comes over at 10. We're out of there at 11 on the dot. As soon as all four wheels of the moving van hit the pavement and we were on the road, my whole body just went, oh, and I just like totally, like all the stress I was under just went right out the window as soon as I got on the road with that van. We got to the new place. I could pull the van. When delivery people show up to this place, like an Amazon or whatever, they can hand me the packages out of the window of the truck because they can pull that close to the door. So when we brought the moving van here, we had it so close to the door that like he could just hand me stuff. And we had the whole thing unloaded in about 10 to 15 minutes. And we had a few things in the Forerunner. And we had everything in here 15 minutes. We hung out for another 5 or 10 minutes. And then he was like, see ya. And everything was good. And then I had a van for the rest of the day to go putz around and, go to Target and just get some things and grocery shop and all that stuff. But the stress, whew, it's definitely better. And I get a little irritated about some things like the washing machine that broke last week, but I already have a new one. It took 4 days. I didn't even have enough laundry build up during the time I was without a washing machine for it to even matter. So, but yeah, I want to go see my kids. That's another thing I need to do. But things are moving along and it's all good. It's I don't think it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows from here. There's probably going to be some other thing coming along, but overall, each time I level up, it seems to get better than it was. So that's all that really matters. Just keep moving along, whatever you guys are going through. I'm not the only one going through some stressful things, that's for sure. And she's asking, did you ever see your kids since you were released? Ironically, so I'll end with this. When I moved to Houston, when I got approved by probation, and when I was able to get someone to help me go pick up the rental car, I just needed a ride from Jamestown to Buffalo to go get the rental van, and my buddy in Jamestown gave me a ride. But the day that he had to do it, it all kind of worked out. When I left Jamestown, New York, and went to Pittsburgh on my way to Houston, it was my son's birthday. So I got to spend my son's birthday with him. And we hung out. I slept in his bedroom on the floor on an air mattress. And we got to hang out for a little bit. And now the only time I really get to do anything is talking to them on the phone. And my son's not very talkative. That's just how he is. And my daughter's kind of angry about everything. So it's been difficult. And the one thing that sucks about being in Houston, even if I was in Jamestown, I was close to both of my kids. But my daughter's like almost 30 years old now. So she's going to be 29. She's been a grown-up for a long time. My son is like 15 now. He was 12 when the FBI came to our house. But I miss my kids a lot. And even if I was really trying to make things work in Jamestown, partly because my kids would only be a few hours away and I'd get to see them on the regular, even if I didn't go to Pittsburgh. They could come and see me, vice versa. I could get permission to go to Pittsburgh and see my kids. The only reason I didn't move to Pittsburgh was because my three options were stay in Jamestown and try and figure it out. That was on the table. Once the probation officer from Pittsburgh got involved and knew everything that was going on, she actually had my back. One of the good people I met along the way. She said, you can stay in Jamestown, but you're going to have to try and figure it out. You can go to Pittsburgh, but we're going to put you in a halfway house. And I'm like, it's one thing to be in prison and then go to a halfway house. You're halfway home. But if you're out of prison and you're like living your life, and then they're going to put you in a halfway house, that's halfway back to prison. And I'm like, I didn't do anything to deserve this shit. I'm not going halfway back to prison. No. So my third option was you can go live with your friend in Houston. That's a no-brainer. And moving to Houston, the weather, we have a little bit of winter here, but it was doable. I can ride my bicycle. I could walk. I could, Jamestown winter, no way I'm riding my bike in the winter in Jamestown unless I have my mountain bike with studded tires for the ice. Now the mountain bike I have in Pittsburgh, that could be a winter bike. It's not a big fat tire mountain bike, but it's got big tires. It's a beast. And you could definitely ride that in the winter and in the snow, on the roads, in the icy cold winter. It would go. But I would need clothes. I would need winter bicycle boots. I would need big, thick gloves. I'd need like 6 layers of clothes. There's a lot of special things you would need to be able to ride a bicycle when it's 20 below zero. And Jamestown, all the freaky winter snow like Buffalo, Jamestown's worse. Whatever's going on in Buffalo's bad. Rochester's bad. Erie, Pennsylvania is absolutely the worst. That is like the worst place to be in the winter up in that area of the country. Jamestown is almost as bad as Erie because all the winter weather from Erie blows over to Jamestown. Jamestown's only about a 45-minute drive from Erie, about an hour maybe. But being on Lake Erie, Pennsylvania, it's the worst. I know all the terrain between Pittsburgh and Rochester, New York, and everything in between, and any possible way that you can get between all of those places. Erie, you don't want to be there in the winter. It's the worst. I used to drive back and forth from Pittsburgh to Rochester all the time, like on a weekly basis. When my daughter was young, I lived in Rochester for about a year and a half, and I would drive to Pittsburgh every weekend, all winter long. From Rochester to Erie, PA, on the side of the road, you would see the snowbanks getting higher and higher and higher. And by the time you get to the Pennsylvania border, where Erie is, the snowbanks would be so high that they're taller than the toll booth on the thruway. And then when you go south from Erie towards Pittsburgh, the snowbanks get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you're about 20 minutes to half hour north of Pittsburgh, and there's no snow on the ground at all. And so Erie's the worst. It's so bad. Jamestown's pretty crappy too, but Erie's worse. And I would have to say that based on just having grown up in that area, I would have to say that Buffalo is not as bad as Jamestown, but sometimes it's worse. Yeah, North Dakota or Minnesota, forget it. I've been in I drove to Minneapolis once. This was a few months after the riots. Oh man. It was still like September, and Western Pennsylvania, it was still like 80, 90 degrees on the day we left. When we got to Minneapolis, it was snowing already, and neither one of us brought a coat. And I'm like, oh crap, and we were camping on top of that. So we stopped at Cabela's, we got coats, we got the Mr. Buddy heater for the tent, and a bunch of propane tanks, and we did it up. And we were comfortable the whole time. We were camping on this one lake outside of Chicago. You said the Chicago suburbs. Is it Rock Creek Park, I think, with a little lake, and there's a campground there. We camped there. It was cold, but it wasn't snowing yet. But as we left Pennsylvania and we're going up to Minneapolis, it was like we went 3 months ahead in the weather. And Minneapolis, it was snowing like crazy up there. And I'm like, boy, I would never want to live here. because it's already. When we got back to Pennsylvania. When we got back to it was about an hour north of Pittsburgh. It was still like 70 degrees when we came home. So, angels in our midst. I drove through those riots trying to get out because they were starting to close highways and interstates down. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Thanks, Tim Waltz, you commie. Walto. Yeah. Minneapolis is a strange place. That's for sure. But it's just another one of these Democrat cities surrounded by people that hate the Democrats as soon as you're about half an hour outside of downtown. It's like that in Pittsburgh. It's like that in Philly. It's like that everywhere you go. It's kind of weird. Tampon Tim. Yeah. They're calling him other things now. Didn't those, aren't they saying that the guy that shot those politicians up there, didn't he put in his manifesto that Tim Waltz wanted him to kill Amy Klobuchar or something so he could become senator or something like that? I don't know. A lot of strange things going on up there. Think about it, though. Minnesota is the only state in the entire United States that voted for Walter Mondale. Ronald Reagan won 49 states, and Walter Mondale won Minnesota. So, I mean, it just tells you something. Minneapolis is cool, though. I've got some real nice pictures of Minneapolis. A lot of really cool pictures if I can ever get back to the rhythm of editing my photography. And that's what I wanted to do when I came home from prison. I just wanted to get a simple job and work on my photography, and none of that went to plan at all. But I do got to get something to eat, watch a couple hours of the Tour de France so that I can be 6 days behind instead of 5. And, but yeah, there'll be videos popping up on the channel, at least with the delayed videos that I'm putting out. It allows me to put a video up every day because I can do all the work to set up a week's worth of videos to go up like on Sunday. And then they just go boom, 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 boom on each day. And I don't have to like sit here and do all that work day after day after day. I can just kind of say, do it all now, do a week's worth, get them up there. And it's not even like a lot of work. It's just a lot of waiting for the bar to go across the screen, save this video file, go grab lunch, come back, upload 3 videos, go watch some TV. Oh, they're done. Put in the stuff. And so, but yeah, everybody, it's been good. It's been good hanging out. 2 hours and 17 minutes this time. So, what does it say? Oh, we got the top fans. There were like 13 of you. I'm still figuring out the interface here, but it looks like there's 14 people now. If you want to give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs up. I'll throw out a reminder here and there. It helps with the channel and all of that. But anyway, I'll see ya, and holler back at your boy during the week, whatever. You know how to get a hold of me. It's adam@litgood.com. That's the easiest way. And, as I start figuring things out, I'll do more and more. But anyway, I'm going to have to go. I'll say peace out for now.